All right, we're now learning Likutei Sichos of the Rebbe, Chelik Tet Vav. Likutei Sichos. About Parshat Vayeira, we're learning the third Sicha of the Rebbe, Parshat Vayeira. It begins on page 132. Good? On the pasuk, Vayikra Sham b'Shem Hashem Kel Olam, there's a sentence in this week's Parsha that says that Abraham made an inn in a place called Beersheba. An eshel. Made an eshel. It's like a hotel, or some people say it was an orchard. In any case, he invited guests over there. It says the Midrash. He invited guests over there, and he would force them to bless God. Malamed, we learn, it says again, Vayikra Sham b'Shem Hashem Kel Olam, that Abraham, he said, he made this inn, or whatever it is, the tavern, and he called over there the name of God. So the Gemara says, Gemara in Sota, don't just say that he called out the name of God, but he caused others to call the name of God. Al tikra vayikra, don't say that he just called Elo vayakri. He made other people call out the name of God. Malamed Shem Hikri Avram Avinu L'Shmo Shel Kodesh Baruch Hu, that Avram called the name of God, B'Peh Kol Over V'Shav, in the mouth of every person. Right? Abraham was a Chabadnik. He couldn't keep it to himself. He had to force everyone else to call out the name of God. These weren't even Jews. There were no Jews. He was the first Jew. Ketzad, how did he do this? How did he do it? La'achar sha'achlu v'shasu, after everybody ate and drank, omdu leborcho, they stood up and they wanted to say, thank you, Abraham, thank you. We're in the middle of the desert. You gave us food, you enlivened us, gave us back our soul. Omer lehem l'chi mishaliach altem, you think you ate from me? Misha elokei olam achaltem. It's not me. You ate from the food of the God of the world. Hodu v'shivchu u'borchu l'mi she'omar b'haya olam. Don't bless me. Bless the one who spoke and is creating the world right now. So it goes on to say that they all thought he was crazy. And they said, we're not going to do it. And he said, okay, then pay. So they said, oh, we'll pay, no problem. How much is it? So we made a competition, a calculation. And he said, you owe me $342,000. I said, what? I said, sure. You filled the fish? 25,000. You ate 2 pieces. Right, we're in the middle of the desert. Remember, man.
You had the horseradish.
Here we have, you had some horseradish on there also, another 1,000. Then we get to the wine. The wine is $100,000 a bottle. I'll throw the glasses in for free. The meat is another 100,000, 300. So they said, where'd you get these prices from? I said, that's my prices. You want to pay? Pay. You don't want to pay? That's going to be not good for you. Or if you want to, you can bless. So they said, we'll say whatever you want. All we have to do is just say it and we're free. Yeah. They said, okay, write it down. He said, thank you, King of the universe, that you created everything and you gave me this food to eat. Say this. And people started saying, copying it down, bringing their friends. So when everyone was just saying this, stuffing themselves with food, and in the end saying, thank God of the universe. But there were a couple of people that afterwards they got to thinking about it. They left the thing in their pocket, the little card, And they got to thinking, no, this Abraham looks like a normal sort of a person. Why in the world would he make us say these weird words? He said, well, king of the universe. Maybe there really is a king of the universe. And by means of that, he got people to believe that there's a king of the universe. B'midrash mosifim al kach, she'ela she'lo ela, that those people shelo rotzu levorech lemisha omar b'hoya olam, that those people that refuse to bless the creator of the universe, la'achar shachlom, after Dorash Abraham l'shalem hon rav, Abraham demanded a fortune avur masha ochlu v'shasu, for what they ate and drank. Mitoch nimuk, giving the explanation, shatash lomu kol gadol mipenei shebemidbar in mitzuyim machlim. In the desert, where are you going to get gefilte fish and horseradish? Bishamam al eschum, when they heard how much it costs, shenidrash behem aim nichnu, they said, okay, bruch kel olam sha'achalnu mishalo. Blessed is the name of the God that we ate it. I don't know if he really wrote it down or whatever, but in any case, eventually it got around that there's this maniac in the middle of the desert that it'll give you meat and stuff, anything you want. Fish and wine and drinks and everything you want. All you have to do is say these few words. Thank the God of the creator of the universe. Thank the creator of the universe. And people went and they found out that it was true. But Pashtus Yotze, so it comes out, She'omrum la'achar zod baruch kel olam, the fact that they said, blessed is the king of the universe, hem asuzos b'leis breira, they were forced, kadesh lo yaltzu l'shalem, in order that they wouldn't be forced to pay. V'lo mipnei she'eskimu b'lavav l'vorech, and not because they really were aware of what God is, or they even agreed to his religion, right? If Abraham would have said, bless the frog, the Lord, right? The Lord, the frog, yes, everybody would have said, okay, bless the Lord of the frog. Stand on one foot, right? Spin around, stand on your head, stand there, $3,000, $300,000. I'll do whatever you want, right? What do you want me? I'll say anything you want, I'll do anything you want. So these people, they had no intention to God. Abram was spending a fortune to force these people to say something that they had no connection to whatsoever. They were just saying a bunch of words to get a free meal. Davar zeh tamua says this is very amazing. Those people that Abraham did convince to bless God from their ratzon tov, from their own free will, move and shebakachu kayim et inyan shel ha'ikri. Those people that said, okay, Abraham, listen, you really believe in this God? I'll Suddenly they were calling the name of God. But Maya Toelas, what could possibly be the benefit? Ba'amiras Baruch Kel Olam Ba'ofen Chad Pami, that people say, blessed is the King of the universe, once Etzel Avram Bilavad, only by Abraham. Al Yedei Eila Asher Avram Hichricham Lavorech, God, he forced them to bless. Ketzad Yitachen Lomar Shebamaisa Zeh, how can anyone even think that with this deed, Avram advertised the name of God in the world, ba'od asher chasra etzlam ha'akara b'borei olam. They didn't even know what they were saying. They just wanted it to get a good sandwich, a good hot dog or something. And they were saying, blessed is the God of the world. Was it really worth it? I mean, the Torah has to tell us the story. It's true, it's in a midrash. On the other hand, those people who blessed God from their own free will, so those people, Abraham didn't have to force them, right? Or he could have given a little bit less money. He said, listen, here, I gave you free food. I'll give you another, $10. What do you say? Please close the door, Mr. Smith. Regarding Jews, now these were not Jews. There were no Jews. Regarding Jews, it's known what the Rambam says, Maimonides, he says, Shafilu kasher kofim Yehudi l'kayim mitzvah, even when you force a Jew to do a commandment, v'hu lihit rachek min aveira, or to keep away from a sin, nechshav adavar l'ratzono. It's considered to be that the Jew did it of his total free will. Right? A man doesn't want to bring a sacrifice, but he has to bring the sacrifice. They would force him. A man has to divorce his wife, but he refuses divorce. They would force him. 1 second, that's no good. I mean, it says that a sacrifice has to be brought from your own free will. And also a bill of divorce, has to be given from your free will. If you're forced to do it, it's no good. The Rambam says it is of his free will. Every Jew wants to do all the commandments. Every Jew wants to avoid doing sins. The fact that he says he doesn't want to do what the Torah says is because he's temporarily insane. Every Jew wants to do all the commandments and keep away from the sins. But God made the special thing inside of every Jew, in fact, every human being, but the Jews have it special, called a Yetzer Hara. And this Yetzer Hara is there to give you a free choice, and it does sometimes too good of a job. And his Yetzer makes the person go so crazy that he does sins, or he does what he's not supposed to do, and he avoids what he is supposed to do. Goes crazy. V'kev and shehuka. Since a Jew is beaten until Tashash Yetzer, until his Yetzer Hara becomes weaker, and he says, okay, I want to divorce my wife, and I'll do it for my own free will. In other words, be'etzem penimius nafsho, in the essence and the inside of his soul, Rotze Yehudi L'Kayim Kol Mitzvos, a Jew wants to do all the commandments. Ve'i Ratzono B'kach, and the reason he doesn't want to is in Yechitzoni Bilavad. It's only an external thing. Therefore, Goremes HaKafiyah L'Bitol Hitnagdut HaChitzonit Shel HaYetzer. Therefore, when he is forced, this just takes away his external, insanity. That he doesn't want to do the commandments or whatever. When he says, okay, I want to divorce my wife, this comes from a Gila Ratzon Shel Yehud. This is what the Jew wants. But when it's talking about call over Veshav, but when it's talking about non-Jews wandering around in the desert, it does not say anywhere that if you force them, this is revealing their true will. So how could Abraham force these people to call out the name of God, when in fact, when they were calling out the name of God, that's not their true will?
Who says that it's about... First of all, isn't it kind of known that from all the work that Abraham did, basically didn't amount to much. Only through Yitzchak and through Yaakov do we have the Jewish people. Maybe it's not about the people that he was feeding and that were saying these things. It's about what it did to Abraham doing this.
Listen, okay, you can say that. Of course you can say that. It's all psychological and it's for him and it's for this.
It's built something within his DNA.
Yeah, but Abraham, when he was circumcised, he was called the father of all nations. Abraham had an obligation to see to it that as many people as possible serve the Creator, either by doing what the Creator wants or by avoiding what the Creator doesn't want. Now, it's true, they don't have the same commandments as the Jews. They don't have to put on tefillin, but etc. But a non-Jew, he has to... There's 7 Noahide commandments. Those are only the negative ones. Some people say there's positive ones also. It's a Gemara in Chulin. There's 30 positive commandments. There's different opinions of what that is. If you want to look in the Encyclopedia Talmudit of Rav Zevin and Gimel of... in the base, in Bnei Noach. And right in the back there's like an appendix over there, and he discusses the different opinions, basically two opinions. There's also another one that he brings, but what exactly are these 30 commandments that they're supposed to do? They're not like really commandments. A non-Jew doesn't make the blessing on them, but still they're important, very important principles of life, like giving charity, or honoring your parents, loving God, praying to God, asking God, praying to God. What are some of the others? Also, there's a lot of negative ones also, not doing sorcery and things like this. That's essentially it. I'll have to look over there and see the rest of them. But there's also positive things that they're supposed to do. Right, but these are not in their soul the same way as in the Jewish, or maybe they are. Let's see what the Rebbe has to say. Nevertheless, all these commandments for the non-Jews are based on the fact that they are creations of God, and that God is creating them every moment. It's not just their parents created them and that their great-great-grandfather was an amoeba or something. They are being created every single instant, every single non-Jew in the world, and every single animal, and every single planet also. But the non-Jews have intelligence. They have a potential. They're human beings. And because of that, so that's why Abraham, he became God's representative in the world. He became representative. His job was the same as the job of the Jewish people. Now, what we're chosen for? One of the things we're chosen for is to tell the non-Jews how much God loves them. He's creating them. He's giving them eyes to see and nose to smell and a digestive system, a reproductive system, a circulatory system, and nervous system, to every single non-Jew. And so God cares personally about every single non-Jew. Okay, if you learn Chassidic, you learn it's not the same level, and etc. But nevertheless, that's the fact. Right? Rachamav al kol ma'asav. God cares about everyone. That's pretty good. But nevertheless, Abraham is responsible for every single human being in the world.
As a parent is responsible for every human being in the world. The parent dies. The parent can be affected in a positive way or a negative way by what his children do.
Okay.
You don't see that Abraham is affected by what the Gentiles do you?
It says that there's also some midrashim that Avram and Yitzchak and Yaakov are, established on they're sitting, they're waiting, that they're still alive. There's one, the Baba Basra says that someone went down, Baba Basra. Someone went down and saw Avram and Sora, and they were talking. Listen, the world is really in the hands of the Jews. That's the way God wanted it. I don't know why He wanted it that way, but that's the way. He chose the Jews. He put the world in the hands of the Jews. If the Jews are not doing their job, then there's total confusion. Like Adam. God put the whole world into Adam's hand. As soon as Adam refused to do what God wanted, so it threw the whole entire world into this bizarre state of confusion, and what's good is bad, and what's bad is really good, and like we talked about in the morning. It all depends on the Jews. God put the whole entire thing in the Jews' hands. If the Jews act the way they're supposed to, then the world becomes very good. If the Jews do not act the way they're supposed to, then it's just God's mercy, and God has a lot of mercy. God, a lot of patience. A lot of patience, a lot of mercy. Okay, I mean, I'm not trying to explain away the Jewish suffering, and and they really deserved it, and all this stuff. No, God forbid. Don't suspect me of that even for one moment, because if God really wanted to be, exacting, is everybody really repaying their debt to God? So I don't think there would be left, except for maybe amoebas would be left, but I don't think maybe a few quarks or atoms or something. But if everything would be judged, it would be bad shape, bad shape. I mean, especially me. I know what I'm supposed to do. Do I do it? Other people, they know what they're supposed to do. They don't believe in anything. They don't know anything. They haven't been taught. Whatever they do totally by accident. So
we can certainly.
But nevertheless, the whole thing is in the hands of the Jews. That's the point.
Yeah, it still seems that this is all a big lesson for the Jews how to act.
Right. And who are the Jews? What do you mean? Everything is in the hands of the Jews. Everything is in the hands of me. I can't control what other Jews do. All I can do is what I can do, right? So if I go blaming other people, that doesn't solve the problem.
We use Avram as a role model.
Avram is the role model that his whole essence of his life was spreading out Judaism to anybody that he could, spreading out the idea that God is the creator. He's creating everyone. He's intimately close to every single human being. No human being is alone. God is with every human being. Everyone is important. Everyone is indispensable. Right? That's the message that Abraham brought to the world. As long as people worship idols, worship this, then everybody seems to be the same, and every man for himself, and nobody cares about that. Like the idols. Base. B'Yafet Torah, there's one of the explanations of the Torah, which is called Yafet Torah. It's one of the explanations on the Midrash. Ne'emar HaKach, it says, She'af ki yochol liyos, she'em mechazvim lo, u'ba'ones dibru lo ke'ele. Right? Even though it could be that these people were just lying to Abraham, right? Just lying. Right? I'll come back every day. Another steak. Yeah, another steak. Yes, thank the God of the world. Or it could be be'ones dibru. They put this, that's like putting a guy's hand behind his back and say, uncle, that's it. Say God is the creator. Say God, whatever you want, I'll say. Mikol Makom says the Yafet Torah. Avraham Asa Zos, he did this, let's say, neged Hashem. This is like what you were saying. Avram did what he did in order to fulfill his obligation to God. If they tricked him, it's their fault, it's not his fault. I did what I was supposed to do.
They're the one who actually ends up losing.
You guys are losing, you're losing yourselves. Nidrash al Kach Hezber, if this is really the truth, as let's explain this. Im zeu when shall remove ichvazvulo as ma'u paul b'kach. If so, what did Abraham do with this? I mean, in other words, what was God saying? Just give everybody food and tell them to call on the name of God? And if they trick you, then what if they trick me, God? Don't ask questions, do me a favor. Just, why would God want him to do a thing like that everybody's just tricking them and doing? Is there any point in it? God just told him to do it. It's one of the things you just have to do, right? Don't ask any questions. Says the Rebbe, it's sort of hard to believe that. That God wanted him to just make this place and tell people to say these words, and obviously everybody's going to trick him. But he just did what God said. He didn't ask any questions. Like taking his son to sacrifice him. Maybe. Second question is, it's hard to say that Abraham did this for himself, to fill his obligation. Okay, Herschel. And in fact, it came out that nobody really didn't have any effect whatsoever. Everybody just tricked him. Because the Midrash says in another place, that in the merit of these deeds that he did, of Avram, Shekol over Rishav, that every person in the world was at least saying the name of God. The name of God. Thank you, God, that we ate your food. Omer HaKodesh Baruch Hu, God said to Abraham, Ma'ale ani alecha ke'ilu ata shutaf imi b'briyat shalom. I treat it as though you are my partner in the creation of the world. V'ani lo yashemi nikar lebrios. My name was not known to the creations. And you advertised me, Abraham. Thank you. Mikach, moving from this, it's understood who from Abraham's work that he did, Hevi Avram lahakara b'borei olam, he made people recognize God. It wasn't a failure. People didn't trick him. Therefore, therefore, he's considered to be a partner with the Creator of the world. We didn't find any sort of a discernment or differentiation that this was only talked about those few people that agreed and blessed God with a free will. But it seems to indicate that what Abraham did was exactly what God wanted, and that the results was also what God wanted. That people actually called the name of God. It doesn't seem to make any difference whether they called it because they were forced or because they were... Let's see. Devarim Yuvnu, we can understand this. Okay, Hershel. Gimel. She used with Techila according to by means of, we have to make a little preface first of all. Shemotzim derech nosefes al gilui ratzon emiti, that we can find another way of revealing a person's true will, anaseh be'emsos hakav v'tashishas hayetzer, by other than beating a person up and driving him crazy until he says, "Okay, I'll divorce my wife." Sha'ratzon hapanimi eno mitgala ba'amirod rotze ani bilavad. Shebegiloi hu amirod mitoch koreach. Ela sheratzon apenimi mashpia ba'ofen galui al ratzon hachitzoni. Okay, right. You beat a person. A person doesn't want to divorce his wife. He treats his wife terribly. He doesn't feed her. He doesn't provide for the family whatsoever. He treats her terribly, right? Beats her physically, emotionally. According to the Torah, he has to divorce her. He refuses. He says, "I'm not going to divorce her. I can get married to another woman. I can take another one. I can't. I'm not going to divorce her. I'm going to show her. What did she do? Once she burned my steak. I'll never forget this. This is not going to go by. Right? Right? I had my heart set on the steak. It was really this. And she burned it. I said, what, are you really serious? Now you're making troubles. I see you're taking her side. Forget it. I'm not going to divorce her. So they beat him up. And he's screaming and yelling, okay, I'll sign. Get anything, I'll sign. Right? That's one way. But then there's another way is that by means of torturing like this, as he really would still like to say, you can break my arm, you can do whatever you want to, but suddenly there shines inside of himself, says, what am I doing? Why didn't I divorce her? Why don't I divorce her? I mean, God wants me to divorce her. If God says to do it, so I'll do it. We can find something similar maybe like this, that there were people that they tied up to the stake in the Inquisition and this. And they said, change your religion. And they said, no problem. I'll change my religion. Don't light the fire. I'll change my religion. Right? And they brought him the cross or whatever it is. And the last moment he said, Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu. All of a sudden his true will came out. Here's another example. The Maisa Meraglim. Shebetechila in the beginning said, Ki chazaku mimenu, al tikru mimenu, ela mimeno. They said the people of the land of Israel, you know the story that the Jews they got out of Egypt and they got out of Egypt, they got the Torah. And now, here it is, we're going to go into the promised land. So they said, oh, this is wonderful, we're just going to go in the promised land, it's going to be so wonderful. But let's send some what is it, canvassers, what do they call it? People to stake out the place. Scouts. To canvass the place. I think that's what it's called, canvass. Anyway, the scouts. So they send in the scouts, everybody comes back. They said, no, what's going to be? And they said, wow, you don't believe the fruits over there, but we saw the people, they're giants. If you go in there, you're going to die for sure. So everybody said, we're not going in. We're not going in. Why? Because the people there are stronger than us. Don't say stronger mimenu from us, or mimeno. They're stronger than God. And the Rebbe explains how they could say a thing like this, but nevertheless they said it. The people cried and they said, let's pick a new head, a new prime minister. We'll go back to Egypt. It says, Vayedaber Moshe. Vayedaber means he spoke harsh words to them. That the people started to go into mourning. They regretted what they said. Okay, we're going to go. We made a mistake. We're going to go up. Of course, the end was terrible, right? They went up and they got killed. The people in. Bekach gam muvanim divrei Mishnah bekol yom v'yom bas kol yotzis mehar chorev machrezes v'omeres oy laem lebrios me'albona shel Torah. It says, woe is it to the creations from the disgrace of the Torah. Shekol misha osuk b'Torah nikra nizuf. Anyone who does not occupy himself in learning Torah is called, how do you want to call it? It's called despicable. Deplorable. They have this word. Shahari lichaora tamu. At first glance, it's a big wonder. Kavanas shel bas kol hula orer Yisrael sok b'Torah. The purpose of this heavenly voice coming out is supposed to wake people up. If the voice should come out and say, learn Torah, Jews, learn Torah. Hey, you over there, Herschel, what do you say? Rachmiel, learn Torah. That's what it should say. There should be a holy voice should come out of heaven and say the Torah is holy, the Torah will get you into heaven, right? The Torah will make you a better life, you'll have more success if you learn the Torah. right? You'll have more health. You're having problems with your back, learn the Torah. That's what it should say, right? People would say, oh yeah, I'll learn the Torah. Madua, why? Mudgash bo gam hapagam sheba'ilimud. Why should the voice come on and say, woe to those who disgrace the Torah by not learning it? Oilem lebrios melbono shel Torah. B'miyuchad kasha, especially it's hard to understand. Jahari abat kol mekavenes gam liyudim minasugam mechona briot. It says oil briot. Woe is it to the creations. This heavenly voice comes out and says, woe to the creations. Oil and the briot. Kefisha masbir ba'admor zaken, that these people who are very far away from Torah and serving God, in the 32nd chapter, Lochen, they're called briot. Only good thing about you can say about this person is that God creates him. Even a person like that the only good quality is God is that he's a creation of God. He misuses everything: his eyes, his nose, his mouth, a cheater, a liar, anything you want. Nevertheless, he's called the Bria. That's what the voice comes on and says, woe is it to the creations from their disgracing the Torah. Kalomar, ma'alasama yechidais shim nibrim. The only good thing, there's people, that only good thing you can say about them is that God created them. Hashem must have some secret reason why he's creating them. Va'penia la'osak Torah mekavanat gam. And this appeal that God is making, that this heavenly voice is making to learn Torah, it's pointed to them also. How can it be that this announcement, woe is it to the creations from the disgrace of the Torah, it doesn't say anything about how important is the Torah. What do you want to say? That we're talking about Jews that they don't know anything. They don't care about anything. They don't believe in God. They don't believe in Torah. They don't believe in Judaism. They don't believe in anything whatsoever. Maybe a good meal or something they believe in. Except for that, nothing. A heavenly voice comes out and says, woe, these people are called creations of God. Why? Because the only good thing, the Torah is looking for something good to say about them. The only good thing you can say is that they're creations. A heavenly voice comes out and says, woe to the creations that they are disgracing the Torah by not learning it.
Now, to someone like that, you give a meal and you get him to bless Hashem.
We'll see. A person like that, that's how you convince him to learn Torah. He doesn't even know what Torah is. He doesn't even care. Woe to the brios. What do you mean, woe? Who's woeing? Right? A heavenly voice? What do I care about heavenly voices? A heavenly voice should come out and say, would you like $1 million? How would you like to have a nice new home? What about some good friends? How would you like to have health? No worries anymore. Learn the Torah. That person said, what was that? Did you hear something? I didn't hear nothing. Want another drink? No, I'm getting out of here. I heard this voice. That's good. That's a voice that says it. What if a voice comes out and says, woe to you, you have disgraced the Torah. Right? The person's because of that going to do tshuva. Let's see. Why does God use that? I mean, God knows what he's doing. Why did he choose that way to arouse these people? Every Jew has a godly soul. That wants to do all the commandments. Okay, here show. Even more, but in the inside of every Jew, there are chabuyim, there are hidden otzros yakarim, hidden treasures. Shel emuna, and faith in God, avas Hashem, loving God. Shorish kol ramach mitzvahs, the source of all the 248 commandments, are exactly that, this love of God that is hidden inside of the heart of every Jew. Lefichach, therefore, ein lo tzorich behasbarim shel chasiv. You don't have to explain about how great the Torah is. Every Jew knows it. Tzorich rak lavi et penimis liyadei gilu. You just have to remove the shell. Az hu yasek mimele b'Torah. Then he'll start to learn the Torah. If he was not in this level of just a creation, in other words, he was let's say a wise person, a smart person, then you could explain to him, sit down with him, talk to him, explain the hidden treasures that are found in his soul. Asher Bekirba says Gilui Or. You could sit down and learn with him Chassidic, learn Al Yedei Hadgasha the Chashivu Shebalim Torah. Then you could explain him about how wonderful it is to learn the Torah. But since this person is only on the level of a creation. In other words, all you can say about this person is just that God created him, and no explanations that you give will have any sort of effect on him whatsoever. Asher biglal chumrius v'gasus kochotav v'galuyim ein or neshama me'iretz lo. Therefore, because he is so thick and so egotistical that no godliness will shine by this person, therefore you have to break hachumrius ha'oteh al or neshama hasra zeh, this removing of his thick shell of egotism, by means of hachraza that comes from the voice and the nazifa and the, how do you want to call it, the warning of oilem labrios, woe to those creations who do not disgrace the Torah. Maybe it'll have an effect. Get it, Herschel? But this way of breaking a person's shell of insensitivity to his own soul, to break this is by this heavenly voice that comes out and says, woe to you that you are disgracing the Torah. This is for Jews. Shemesugalim lechush, that they are capable of feeling shematzavam ruchniya yerud, that their spiritual state novea mikach sheim gormim la'albona shel Torah, comes because they are disgracing the Torah. Asher gam b'matzavam hanochachi kasher chumrius mechasel ora neshama hem chashim v'koltim inyan ruchni, that even these Jews that are only in the state of like animals, they're just creations of God, but nevertheless they're Jews. And because they are Jews, there is hidden inside of them this treasure of loving God. Yotzei, so it comes out, Shanazifa, that this warning, this, how do you want to call it, this shouting, that the heavenly voice shouts at them, and to break their egotism, it's not really just breaking. It's a revelation bringing out from what's inside, bringing it out. I mean, the Jew can say, hey, a voice is talking to me and telling me that I'm doing. Why would a voice talk to me? Who am I that a heavenly voice should talk to me? It's true, he was saying terrible things to me. He was saying that I'm disgracing the Torah, and the war, it's going to be really bad for me in the future, and I'm going to go to hell, maybe even worse in this world. That's sort of, that's a little bit shocking. But on the other hand, why would a heavenly voice talk to me? Who am I? All of a sudden, yeshnu darga nemucha yoter. But there are some people, so therefore this heavenly voice also brings out the good in him a little bit. No? But yeshnu darga nemucha yoter. There's even a lower level in yenruchni kalal eno murgash, where a person does not feel anything whatsoever. Because the physical world and his own egotism totally conceals any hint of spirituality that he has inside of him. No matter what you tell him, he's never going to feel how low he is. Who's a kuk lenazifa? He has to have a yelling. He has to be yelled at, like Rabbi Levin does upstairs. Shekol mahusa shel shvir, really. L'tzaka ata ra rasha meshukatz. It's in the Tanya also. If you look in the Tanya, you'll see this great thing in chapter 29. Maybe that's where he learned it. V'zeh gorem l'shvira b'kol mahuso. Kach unasa kli l'kedusha. A person has to yell at himself and say, wow, I, Yetzer Ora, animal soul, you're covering over my true essence. Right? There was one person that went by the Rebbe. Anyway, he was a very material person. He was a Chabad Chassid, and he asked the Rebbe to see it. He said, Rebbe, pray for me that I should learn Torah. So the Rebbe said, you pray for this yourself to God. He said, listen, Rebbe, I don't have no idea who God is. You have a little bit of an idea. You're a little bit closer to God than I am. Yeah. Do me a favor. Something like that. In other words, he realized a little bit that how low he was. Right? How low he was. So a person like that is, how can he get out of it? I mean, he just wants to do low things. For him, there's no option. There's no alternative. There's just his regular life. He goes home, immediately turns on the television, immediately eats up sandwich, immediately goes to sleep. It's just like, that's what he looks forward to, and that's all there is. And if you take it away from him, he gets angry, he gets depressed. So as a person like this, it says in the Tanya, chapter 29, that he has to yell at himself. What do you mean yell at himself? It's not good. A heavenly voice can come out, it won't help him. He has to yell at himself, say, listen, what's causing me not to be interested in Torah and mitzvahs and things like this? It's not the real me. It's what's called my animal soul. And that's not really me. In my animal soul, I've been hypnotized and tricked to thinking that's really me, but it's not really me. Animal, get away from me. You're disgusting, you're low, you're this. I took a few classes in the 12-step program, and they said that the alcoholics and people like that, the desire that they have to drink, says that's the serpent. You have to realize that when you have this desire to drink, when you have the desire to this, there's all sorts of addictions that people. When you have the desire to do this thing you're addicted, you should know that who's speaking you, who's giving you this urge, that's the serpent. In other words, say, get away from me. So these people, their main work is they have to put themselves into place. My Yetzer Hora, my animal soul, is ruling over me. Okay, let's go back. Dugmas the derech yasheni. A second. So these people that are so low, all they can do is just yell at themselves. They can't be a heavenly voice and think. It won't wake up anything in them. There's nothing. They just have to say, I'm bad, I'm evil, I can't trust myself at all. Get away from me, evil impulse. This second way, we find the story in the Gemara. Oh, this is very good. You'll like this. Herschel. Once upon a time there was Rabbi Elazar ben Shimon. Rabbi Elazar ben Shimon, he said he had sat and learned for a long time, very successfully, and they had reached tremendous heights and wonderful ideas and truth and learning of the Torah. On his way back home, he met up with a person that was very ugly. Omer lo Reika kama mechurat. The man said to Rabbi Elazar, how you doing? And he said, wow, are you ugly? You are the most empty, ugly person I've ever heard. Omer lo, this man said to him, hey, how are you talking to me? What's wrong with you? He says, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with you? How did you get so ugly? Wow, what did you do? You're just the ugliest person I've ever seen. This person was just insulted. He said, Lech omar la'oman sha'asuni kama mechor kli zeh sha'asita. Go and tell the Creator who created me how ugly is the vessel that you made. Mitorerat hashayla, and Rabbi Eliezer kept saying that you're ugly, right? And he kept saying, go on this, and finally Rabbi Eliezer stopped, and he searched after Rabbi Eliezer and said, right, he kept running after him. Go to the Creator who created me and ask him why he made such an ugly vessel. How could, what did Rabbi Eliezer think? What, Rabbi Eliezer didn't know that there's a God who made this person ugly? What is he calling him ugly for? Everything is made by God. And we can also understand, how could it be that Rabbi Eliezer would say such things like this to a person, right? Imagine somebody going by the Rebbe for dollars and the Rebbe says, wow, are you ugly? Man, I mean, there's passes in front of me thousands of people, but ugly like you I've never seen. Never seen. Close the cameras, please. Don't. Just did you a favor. How could Rabbi Eliezer say anything like that? But the answer is like this, but Milim Reika, when he said you're empty, you're ugly, Rabbi Eliezer was intending mainly to his soul. Kamuvuvan ruchani, his spiritual. He understood that this person was very low spiritually. He had no good qualities spiritually. Okay, Herschel? Yoter al-Kain, and even more. Gama yitron yechid shebe'elu shenikron briot shebe'olam kedle'el lo haya nikarbo. Even the fact that he was created by God, you couldn't see. You couldn't even see that. God would not have created such a person that was so evil, so bad, such a liar, a cheater, a tricker. Rabbi Eliezer Ra shebematzav haruchani shebo shoro ya'ish efshar lachzir lo shalom. The man said to him, "Hello, how are you?" And he saw, I can't say hello to this guy. I have a responsibility to wake him up somehow or other. I have to start screaming at him and yelling at him. Reka, you empty fool, how ugly you are. This broke his physicality. So what do we see? That in fact, this man who had never called on God in his life, he never recognized God, he didn't care anything about God. He was truly ugly spiritually. After Rabbi Eliezer ben Shimon yelled at him, what did he say to him? He talked about God. First time in his life. He said, big rabbi, go to the Creator who created me and say, why did you make such an ugly vessel? First time he ever thought about the Creator. He recognized there's a Creator who made me. He recognized that I am a creation of God. Even more, he wasn't just an ordinary person, but I'm not just an ordinary creation. I am a craftsman's work. That a master's work recognizes the reason for which he is created. An expert creates something for a purpose. Same thing, I am created for a purpose. He recognized this man, because Rabbi Eliezer called him ugly, the first time in his life, he recognized as a creator and that he's a creation and he's created with a special purpose. And tomorrow we'll explain why it is, how Abraham applied this principle to the people that went by his eshel.